This is Gaurav Ahuja and I'm a BTech from IIT Roorkee, and I have been teaching in this education sector from last 7 years, and I've worked in firms in Dubai as well as Delhi NCR. Right now I'm working with Vidya Mandir classes Delhi. So today I'm going to teach you electromagnetic induction. It's a very important chapter for JEE as well as for CBSE. Every year at least one question is asked from this chapter. So let's start with this. I hope you have all revised magnetic effects of current before coming from this for this class. So in magnetic effect of current we studied that a current carrying conductor produces magnetic field around it. If you look at to the right of the conductor, the magnetic field is going inside the plane, whereas if you look at the left of the conductor, magnetic field is coming out of the plane. So now the question arises is that here a current or moving charge produces magnetic field. Now is the reverse also true? That is, will a moving magnetic field also produces current? Now, we all know that nature loves symmetry. So since this is reverse of this and they are quite symmetric, so if this is true, this must also be true. And experiments have proved that in fact moving magnetic field do produce current. So we'll start with an experiment conducted by Michael Faraday. Now Michael Faraday was a very interesting guy. He did not take any formal education and he used to perform lot of experiments, and his whole way of studying physics was experimental. So he used to take up a setup, play around with it, and then come up with laws. So let's look at what his experiment he conducted in, from which electromagnetic induction came into picture. So what he did was, he took a coil here and connected it with a galvanometer. And then he took a bar magnet. And then what he observed was that when bar magnet is at rest in front of the coil, the galvanometer shows zero reading. That is, no current is flowing through the coil. So when bar magnet is at rest, there is no current. But when he moved this bar magnet towards the coil, what he found was that there is a current in the galvanometer in a particular direction. Let's say galvanometer zero reading is like this. It gets deflected in a particular direction when magnet was brought near to the coil. So when bar magnet moves towards the coil, there is current in a particular direction. Now when he stopped it again, when bar magnet was again stopped, again galvanometer showed zero reading. So whenever bar magnet is at rest, either initially or after motion, whenever it is brought to rest for an instant, for a time duration, galvanometer shows zero reading. Only when bar magnet is moving do we have a current in the coil. So if bar magnet is at rest, near the coil, basically we can say it is stopped. Again, no current. Now next step what he did was he took the bar magnet and he took it away from the coil. Now again there was current, but this time amazingly the current was in the opposite direction. So when bar magnet was being brought close to the coil, the galvanometer deflected in a particular direction. There was a current in a particular direction in the coil. Let's say maybe anti-clockwise. Now when it is brought away from the coil, the current in the galvanometer is in the opposite direction. This time clockwise. So when bar magnet is moved away from coil, again there is current, but this time in the opposite direction. Maybe it's this way, here it's this way. So what we can observe is from this experiment, what he observed was that when bar magnet is at rest, there is no current through it. Maybe when it is stopped after motion, then again there is no current. But whenever bar magnet is moving, maybe away or maybe towards, there is current. And when it is brought near to the coil, there is a current in a particular direction. When it is taken away from the coil, there is current in the opposite direction. Another thing which he observed was that let's say if I am bringing this bar magnet with 2 meter per second, so and let's say then there is some current, let us assume it is 5 ampere. But when we increase speed to 4 meter per second, current also increased. So what all does the current in the coil depends on? Firstly, the magnet should be moving. If the magnet is at rest, there is no current. Secondly, the magnitude of the current depends on the speed of the magnet. How fast is the magnet moving? So this was his experiment. Let's look at another experiment from which we'll conclude what is actually happening here, that a current is getting produced in the coil. So let us say there is a magnetic field here going inside the plane. Let's say it is 10 Tesla, some B naught. It's better if we take some constant value B naught. And let's say there is a loop being placed here. Now, when the magnetic field is constant, it is going inside and there is a conducting loop being present here. There is no current in the loop. But as soon as magnetic field is switched off, suddenly there is a current. Once it is completely switched off and it remains switched off for a certain duration, again there is no current. Again it is switched on, again there is a current. So what we are finding is whenever there is change in magnetic field, change is important through the coil, current flows through it, or you can say an EMF is induced in it, because current is flowing because there is an EMF present. Now second thing, now the guy who was performing this experiment, he did lot of things. He sometimes changed magnetic field, sometimes start rotating it, sometimes he took this conducting loop out of the magnetic field. So he did lot of things. We are going to study only those which are important to us, which will help us to come up with a law, so that we can understand what is actually happening. He actually, while doing experiment, did lot of things. So next thing what he did was, let's say if this is the radius of the coil, let me draw it separately only, that would be better, because this will confuse you. So next thing what he did was, same conducting loop, somehow he tried to decrease the radius. He started compressing the loop from all sides. Now when radius started decreasing, again he found that there is a current flowing through it. Or if he is increasing the radius somehow, again he is finding there is some current through it. So initially why was the current present? Only because of changing magnetic field. He was doing nothing with the loop. Second time he is keeping magnetic field constant, but this time he is changing radius. What happens when you change radius? Obviously the area gets changed. You decrease the radius, area gets reduced. You increase the radius, area gets increased. So another thing which he found out was that when area changes, which area? Area through which magnetic field is flowing, then there is an EMF induced in the loop. So first was magnetic field change, second is area change. Third thing which he did was, again he took magnetic field, same loop. This time, let's say this is its center, he rotated this way. So when he started rotating the loop this way while being in the plane, there was no current. So, but when he rotated this loop this way, there was current. So that means what all is mattering? If you look at it, here magnetic field changes, there is current. Area changes, there is current. And then orientation, if you are rotating it, we are not having current at any way we rotate it. If you rotate it in a particular way, see, if you look at it, if you observe properly, if you remember area vector we studied in magnetic field, it is perpendicular to the plane, right? So if we look at here, area vector is perpendicular to the plane, and is the angle between area vector and magnetic field changing? No. But here, when angle between area vector and magnetic field is changing, the current is flowing. So are you getting it? Is it clear to all of you what we are studying? So what we are seeing is that if there is a change in angle between magnetic field and area vector, again there is an EMF getting induced in the loop. So what we have seen till now is, from the previous experiment as well as this, that EMF gets induced in the loop when magnetic field changes, area changes, or angle between magnetic field and area changes. Now if you remember, we have seen this earlier also somewhere. If you remember electrostatics, we studied what was electric flux. Do you all remember what electric flux was? What we studied in that? We studied that what was electric flux? Electric flux was that integration of E dot dA, if you remember. And it was integration E dA cos theta. So there A was area vector, theta was angle between electric field and area vector, and E was electric field. Exactly similar to this, we have what is called as magnetic flux. You just need to replace electric field with magnetic field and you will get magnetic flux. That was related to electrostatic, this is more related to magnetism. So magnetic flux symbol, we have the same symbol for them, is integration B dot dA or integration B dA cos theta. So if you look at here, B is coming into picture, area is coming into picture, and angle between B and A is coming into picture. So all three of them are coming into picture when we are looking into magnetic flux. So what we are getting is that when is the EMF getting induced in a loop? When magnetic flux through the loop changes. So EMF gets induced in the loop when magnetic flux through the loop changes. Don't you worry much about a magnetic flux. We are going to discuss it in detail. I right now just introduced it to you. Let me first complete this law, then we'll come to magnetic flux, and then we'll come back here and see more of the things. So what we have seen is that from that Faraday's experiment, we came up with, the experiment proved this thing. So he came up with a law. He said that an EMF is induced and hence a current in a conducting loop or path whenever there is change in magnetic flux through it. So whenever magnetic flux changes through a loop or through a path, an EMF gets induced in the loop. That is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Mathematically, if you look at it, EMF that comes up into the loop is given by negative of d phi by dt. Here E is EMF induced in the loop, phi is magnetic flux, and we are differentiating it with respect to time. So magnitude of EMF induced is rate of change of magnetic flux. Why is there a negative sign here? We'll soon talk about it. But hope this is clear to you. What is it saying? Now Faraday said that an EMF is induced in a loop or a path whenever there is a change in magnetic flux through it. And mathematically he also told about the magnitude of EMF as well as direction. So magnitude wise he said that an EMF is getting induced in the loop whose magnitude is rate of change of magnetic flux with respect to time. So you can note that down also. Hope you have noted this down. In case you have not, please do let me know. I will repeat it. So what we have concluded, that an EMF is getting induced through a loop whenever there is a change in magnetic flux through it. And what is the magnitude of EMF? Magnitude of EMF induced is rate of change of flux through magnetic flux through it with respect to time. So if you look at, let's go back and look at all the experiments which we did. So let's see whether the law we have come up with, whether it is verifying what we have seen till now. So we started with this. A bar magnet. So when it was at rest, there was, now what is magnetic flux? Magnetic flux is number of field lines crossing this loop. That is what represents magnetic flux in our case. So when the bar magnet was at rest, was there any change in flux? See, the number of lines which are going through the loop, was there any change? No. It was remaining the same. In fact, the amount of field that was flowing through it, that is what flux represents. Is it changing? No. So that is why there was no current. but when you brought close to it, what happened? See, now initially some number of lines are passing, but when you brought it, let's say here, so more number of lines started passing through it, right? So flux increased, so there was a change in flux, so there was a current. Now when you stopped it again number became constant which was passing through it, so no current. When you took it back, the number decreased, again current, but this time in opposite direction. Why opposite direction? We'll come to it. When you stopped again there was no current, right? Clear to all of you? The second experiment which we saw, constant magnetic field and a conducting loop. Now when the field is constant, is there any change in flux? No. So there is no current. As soon as you switch off the field, there is a change in flux. Initially magnetic field is B0, suddenly it dropped to 0. So there is a change. Flux is changing, current induced. Secondly, we change the radius, if you remember. So if we decrease radius or increase radius, area is changing. And whenever you are changing radius, then only the current is coming. It's not that once you have decreased and stopped changing the radius, will there be current? No. As soon as flux become constant for a duration of time, however small the duration is, there will be no current for that small duration. Third thing which we did was, while we rotated it this way, the angle changed. So flux started getting changed, again there was current. Clear to all of you? I am hoping it is clear to all of you. If it's not clear to even a single student, I want you to let me know. I'll take care of it again. Clear? Cool. Let's move ahead and let's look at, we have seen that the magnitude of EMF is rate of change of flux. But there was this negative sign here, right? If I look at the magnitude, I have to take a mod sign and I'll get the magnitude of EMF. What does this negative sign shows? This negative sign is related to direction of EMF or the current. Now the question is, we have seen that if there is a magnetic field and there is a loop, if we are changing area or if we are changing magnetic field, there is a current coming. But we have still not seen whether the current will be clockwise or anti-clockwise. Current can be anti-clockwise or clockwise. It can be in any direction. So we have to still talk about the direction of EMF or the direction of the current which comes into the loop. So let's look at that. So for that we have what is called as Lenz's law. Now what is Lenz's law? Lenz's law tells us the direction of induced EMF or the induced current in the loop whenever there is a change in magnetic flux. So let's look at what is Lenz's law saying. Now Lenz's law states that the direction of induced current is such that it opposes the change that caused it. हिंदी में बोलूं तो करंट इस तरह से इंड्यूस होता है लूप में कि जिस वजह से वो प्रोड्यूस हुआ है उसी को अपोज करे, उसी को खत्म करना चाहता है। वो जिसने उसे प्रोड्यूस किया वो उसको खत्म करना चाह रहा है, उसे पसंद नहीं आया कि कुछ चेंज हुआ, तो वो एक तरह से ऐसे फील्ड प्रोड्यूस करेगा ताकि उस चेंज को अपोज कर सके. हम एग्जांपल से देखेंगे. विल लुक इट थ्रू एन एग्जांपल. इट विल बी वेरी मच क्लियर टू यू. सो लेट्स लुक इनटू दैट. So let's say we have magnetic field going inside. There is a loop here, and magnetic field, let's say, is increasing with time. Now magnetic field is increasing with time, therefore the flux will definitely change. There has to be an EMF and hence a current induced in the loop that we have already seen. Now let's look at what is the direction of current. Will it be clockwise or anti-clockwise? And obviously that depends on the direction of induced EMF. Now what is the Lenz's law saying? See, it says that it opposes the change that caused it. What is causing the induced current? Increase in magnetic field, right? Now if magnetic field is increasing, flux is increasing, which is going inside, right? Now it says that the current which is getting induced in the loop will produce flux or magnetic field opposite to that. So if you look at it, if I take current, let's say this way, in which direction does it produce magnetic field? Inside. So it will support the increasing magnetic field, but what it has to do? It has to oppose it. Therefore current will be anti-clockwise. This will be the induced current. Why is it so? If you look at it, increasing magnetic field, that means flux is increasing inside, so induced current must oppose it. So it must produce magnetic field coming out of the plane. And how will it do that? By becoming anti-clockwise. See, if you know anti-clockwise, magnetic field is coming out of the plane. Right? Clear? Fine. We'll take more examples on this in the next videos, and it will be very much clear to you how to apply Lenz's law. We'll be looking at what is magnetic flux, we'll be looking at numericals of magnetic flux, then we'll come to how to solve numericals of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and we're looking at 10 to 12 examples of Lenz's law so that it is completely clear to you. Okay? I hope everything is clear to you. Bye bye, take care.